Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. Congratulations to Grayscale for winning the lawsuit. Today is pretty much an all green day. We're going to focus on the important thing that's going on right now, which is, can this be sustainable? In today's video, we're going to focus on where can we go next and whether it's sustainable to keep pushing higher right now, or if we are still in the way towards the 21.5. First of all, let's understand what is the impact of Grayscale winning the lawsuit against the SEC. Well, Grayscale holds 635k Bitcoin. That is 4.5 times larger than what MicroStrategy is holding. You can see here in this chart how much Bitcoin each of these entities are holding. And clearly, Grayscale so far is the largest. We will have to revisit this chart in the future. If other ETFs get approved, they will have to obviously publish their holdings. So I'm talking about BlackRock potentially. For the day, things are clearly green, but for the week, there's still some coins that haven't recovered. So far, we have managed to hold 26 support. And one thing I want you guys to know is that we don't need to listen to the news to know where the price is more likely to go. If you're following me on Twitter, I've been sharing constantly throughout the year different great setups. Like for example, I shared this one around Monday, so you have plenty of time to assess whether you wanted to take a trade like this. Also 2 days ago, I shared this setup that ended up playing up perfectly well as well. If you want to get notified, just follow me on Twitter. You're going to find me by Trading Parrot. Guys, if you like this kind of content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, hit the like, switch on the notification bell so you get notified every time I push a new video. And do two things for this channel. Watch the full video until the very end and do not go anywhere without leaving a comment. And today's video is packed with alpha. And one of the things that you're going to love about my channel is that I'm giving you very time sensitive alpha. And the few people that are watching the technical analysis videos, look at their comments. They're saying usually right after the video goes out, the price goes in the direction that has my bias. On Monday, I cover everything to do with the long term, with the weekly. I'm still bearish. I still hold that we might visit the 21 and below 25. For the weekly trend. Of course, I can be wrong. No one can see the future. But on Monday, I say that it's very rare to see that Bitcoin dumps when everybody is short. What I showed you on Monday was that on the 1 hour, on the 4 hour, and on the daily, the amount of shorts was just unbelievable. And that means only one thing. It means that for the market maker, it's much easier to take the liquidity from you when everybody is in the same direction. All the stop losses that were aggregated in this area was just so easy for them to just push the price at that point and smash all the shorts. And that is the main reason that even though I still think that we might go lower, that usually happens from an area like this. So most of the time it's much better to short once all the shorts have been taken away and you are one of the few short in the market. You might argue that the whales and sharks may have known that Grayscale already won the lawsuit and they bought 10k Bitcoin and they withdrew from the exchanges. In fact, I saw the notifications coming up and usually the full market being bearish and at the same time you start seeing some large withdrawals of Bitcoin. There's something cooking and that makes me really uncomfortable to also take a short from there. I was already holding quite a large bag of Bitcoin and I was considering maybe it's a good idea to hedge with a short in case things dump heavy. But what stopped me from doing that was seeing the amount of shorts that there were already in the market. Rule of thumb, when everybody's going in one way, do not go in that way. We also cover on Monday, we say we had 6 green candles in the DXY and that we were due for a correction on the DXY. That's precisely what we're seeing right now. This doesn't mean necessarily that we're going to break down below this trend line and the DXY is going to start collapsing, but it's sufficient for many other markets, not just Bitcoin approved by Grayscale, but also S&P and Nasdaq. We're going to look into them. They are doing pretty well. You can see here that Nasdaq hasn't even reached yet the target for the hive and is already pushing against the entry price. This is a good day both for Nasdaq and for S&P, but be very mindful that this hasn't yet taken over the high. So we are against the 0.5 Fibonacci, and that could perfectly be the resistance that pushes both Nasdaq and S&P to print a lower low. And do not get fooled. S&P and Nasdaq printing a lower low means Bitcoin retracing all the gains that you saw yesterday. I'm a fan of Benjamin Cohen, as you probably know by now, and he was tweeting during the pump of XRP. This was mid-July when they relisted XRP on different exchanges and they won against the SEC as well. But even though they won, this was just a pump and dump. In fact, it didn't even hold the entry price. It went even below the entry price after getting approved. So I also show you on Monday that we had a hive on the daily bullish with a target of 27.2. And in fact, we went all the way to 28.1. So even one more K above the target of the bullish hive. And this got printed when everybody was bearish. It's an extremely great contrarian signal. I mainly show it in the daily and in the 4-hour, but members of the community TTP, they use it for bots, for different coins. It basically aggregates divergences for many indicators without repainting, and it allows you to say how many divergences you want for this to trigger and to set up a target based on the average true range. Very simple, but very effective. So as you can see from LuxAlgo Price Action Concepts, the premium version, we are almost fulfilling all the fair value gap, and we already created a massive fair value gap below the price, starting from 27.2 to 26.2. So 1K that needs to be filled around here. Not necessarily now, but at some point. And if we look at high block capital, if we compare this diagram with the one from Monday, where we were seeing all red here, but that red was barely reaching 2 billion. Yesterday, we made it to 15 billion to the upside, meaning that the longs are extremely exposed to getting liquidated. Currently at 11 billion, but that's still 5 more times risk on longs today than the risk of the shorts were exposing the other day. And the most significant levels right now are 26.5, 26.2, and below the entry price at 25.7. These are all levels extremely attractive right now for market maker. You can confirm that for free using CoinGlass. On the 7th day, you're going to see this bump there. This is starting from 25.9 going all the way to 24. And you can see how much higher is the liquidity of the last 7 days versus the upside. Of course, this only covers 7 days, but we're going to look into high block for 1 month and 3 months in just a second. Longs on the 1 hour and longs on the 4 hour are starting to increase their exposure. Whereas on the daily, still we don't see anything like we were seeing during July. Things are still not bullish enough to attract enough longs. And on the daily, shorts are still in control. We've been talking about volatility, and we've been saying that we need to have a spike in volatility. Throughout the years, usually the spike of volatility occurs at the peaks in the price. And this is still pointing down. So our volatility is nothing like we should be expecting to eventually come. Very interesting to see that the warning buy got printed on Monday, and right after beginning the week, we started coming back up. Pretty interesting because normally the warning buy takes a while to play out on Cerberus. You can watch my video from Monday to have more insights of my expectation and long-term view for Cerberus. Very good indicator to forecast where the market could be heading in the next months. Total 3 has flipped into buy in the 4-hour chart. This means that a lot of money has entered the market. There's much more volume than there used to be a couple of weeks ago. And guess what? We are back into Bitcoin season. Just below 25, we are at 24. Below 25 is Bitcoin season. That means that what Bitcoin did yesterday was taking over a bunch of places on all these alts, leaving them behind, outperforming them. That is consistent with the Bitcoin dominance, pushing even higher. Now we are at 49.75. Potentially, we might be getting ready for another push, breaking above these highs. And our CME gap of 27.5 got completely filled. So the way many investors interpret this is that once the gap is filled, there is literally no incentive for the price to keep pushing higher. And therefore, the next CME gap is the one that becomes more attractive. So you might say, well, what do we have left? We have the 34 at the top, or we have the 21. So you have to pick your poison and decide in which direction we might go. Or you might be part of the people that believe that since not all the CME gaps have been filled in the past, we even have one at 6K on Bitcoin, we might as well never fill the 21, for example. On the Fibonacci chart that I love, we can see that we got rejected by the green line, which before was support. So this is a very interesting development because we do not want to get rejections at levels where before were support, because that is one way of confirming that we now are breaking down. So after holding here and being rejected at the same level, we should potentially go into the gray line, which is at around 24.8. And if we take a while to get here, like let's say we land at this level at around November, that will be 21.5. I'm not saying necessarily it's going to happen, but it's one of the likely outcomes that are on the table. One great point I'm borrowing from Crypto Zombie, I want to share it with you guys, which is to do with the EMA ribbon and the Super Gappy indicators. Both of them consist in multiple EMAs stacked together with different colors. And the expectation that people have when you look at these indicators on a weekly Bitcoin chart is that once you flip bullish, meaning that the yellow EMAs are on the top of the red ones, you should remain like that for the whole bull market. And the flip occurs when you switch into a bear market. But there are some exceptions, like for example, in 2019, here we flipped bullish and there was a micro flip into bearish during COVID with a V recovery and resuming the uptrend. These people are saying, how come we flip bullish right now just to flip back into bearish? Could that happen for the first time in Bitcoin? That instead of this continuing towards the upside, that it actually has a period where we are flipping bearish and with the red on top again? Well, yeah, that could happen. In all this period here, we were going sideways. So we could as well have another period of sideways. The less likely scenario is that this really goes and starts making lower lows and just collapsing the whole ecosystem. This chart, we've been using it for quite a while, and I find very interesting that this whole bullish flag that we have here, if we extend it, it reaches precisely where the price bounced, and then when it goes up, it reaches precisely what was the previous support. Another way of confirming that the odds are still towards the downside. So we might see that we take these lows potentially in September. If we want confirmation that this scenario bearish is invalidated, then we need to conquer these levels and hold them. And that is located above 28.5. 28.5 is the line in the sand between saying the odds are still to the downside versus saying, oh yeah, people are really buying this thing about the new ETF approval. BlackRock gets approved as well. The S&P and the Nasdaq keeps pushing higher. The DXY goes down, and therefore we reconquer that. Can that happen? Anything can happen. Right now, odds and chart is still saying we haven't reached that point. And now for all the people that are not using CPR monthly, I don't know which indicators you're looking at, but the precision of the CPR is just unbelievable. First, it reaches precisely the third level of support on 17th of August. And then when we have the pump, we reach the first level of support and we haven't conquered it. What is the CPR still saying for the month of August? A few days left of the month of August. It's saying that if we don't conquer the pivots that are here, and we don't reach the first level of resistance, in this month, 31K that we are going to struggle with the next levels of CPR during September. As I drew a few days ago in the chart and I left them untouched there, those are the levels that I'm forecasting that we're gonna get for CPR monthly in September. The pivots are between 29.5 and 30.3. A few days ago, we were like this with the fair value gaps. And what were we saying? That the market maker needs to decide between taking this liquidity here and the one below. Since everybody was bearish, they made so much more attractive the green area compared to the yellow. This is what ended up happening. And you can see that it took half of the liquidity to the upside. Now we have new levels located here below the price, and our first level starts right from where we reach, and it can span all the way to 29K. So meaning that if market maker wanted still to grab a bit more from the top, they can still do it and reach 29 and dump right from there, if the intention was next to take this liquidity around here. Let's look what market maker is looking for. They're looking for liquidity, they're looking for big bags that they can take. On the monthly, we can see that the most liquidity that we have right now is at 25 and slightly below 25, spanning to 22.3. On the upside, we have 30K, 31, and 32. If we go to the weekly, we can see what happened yesterday with whales with more than 1 million buying in a very fast and sneaky way, and everybody else following up. The people with 1K to 10K are buying like crazy. These are retail. The green line is retail. 10K to 100K, yes, they bought, but they immediately sold. And $100 to $1,000 are pretty much not doing much apart from just a few buying, immediately selling. Interestingly, the 1 million to 10 million are still there, according to this chart at least. You can see that they were selling before and now they bought and they are stuck there at that level. In terms of 3 months of high block capital, we can see that the largest level on the upside is 32K, followed by 30.4. We currently have some liquidity at 28.4, but we're gonna see that more clear if we look at lower time frames. On the downside, this is still packed with liquidity. Look at this, 24, all the way from 24.6 to 23.4 is massive, the amount of liquidity there. Let's look at 6 months. But before that, if you want to trade any of these setups, I'm hosting this exclusive event to unlock up to 60,000 in rewards on OKX. If you want to take advantage of that, just sign up with a new account. And before you complete your details, make sure you write down Parrot as the referral code. That's going to give you 20% discount in all the fees, lifetime. And then using your new account, click on the link in the description for exclusive event on OKX and join. The more you trade, the more you deposit, the higher the rewards. And you are also supporting the channel. Let's look at 6 months, the same thing. Spanning to 21.6, all of this, there's a lot of money to be taken there. 1 month seems to be coinciding with this, and on the 7th day, we're gonna see a different picture. We can see that 28.5 is interesting, but going back to these levels around here, it's still the most attractive thing to do. And guys, you cannot deny the amount of alpha that we're giving in this channel. Hit a like if you're really enjoying that. NVT Studio, we've been for the whole week saying yellow signal, yellow signal. And guess what? Pushing to the upside as the signals stop triggering. And that is precisely what I mentioned, that once it happens, then you get big moves in the price. We're gonna look into what's going on with Bookmap. We usually get very important and time-sensitive information. What I'm seeing here is that there is support currently holding the price at around 27K. We can see that there's still more sellers as we currently speak. During this whole move around here, there were more buyers than sellers, but that ended precisely here, where the VWAP starts being above the price, as you can see here as well. If we zoom out a little bit more, we can see how the buying pressure is located at around 27K, and currently there doesn't seem to be enough sellers on the top. that can change dramatically at any point. That's why I tend to leave Bookmap on this monitor and to keep a close eye. If I see anything changing, any opportunity, I usually post these things on Twitter. So make sure that you're following me as well. Guys, I hope you enjoy all this information. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel so you learn every single thing that I'm seeing in the charts, which is allowing us most of the time to be on the right side of the trade. Thanks for watching the full video, and remember to leave a comment. That's really helping the channel. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.